Dear participants who have come to the studio and those who are following this event online, thank you very much for your participation and welcome back to continue with our work. My name is Martín Guillermo Ramírez and I'm the Secretary General of the Association of European Border Regions. I hope you had the opportunity to exchange with other participants during the break. Perhaps you have commented about these aspects of Chanevo, which have drawn your attention after listening to the researchers and partners during the first session. We have become familiar with the main aspects of this ESPON project, its key findings, and how these can be adapted for policymaking in the participating regions, and hopefully in other territories sharing similar circumstances. In this second session, we will deeper into these territories, explore how they address the need to enhance their resilience, and examine how ESPON evidence can support these efforts. We want to engage not only those who are here today, but also our remote audience. During the session, you can send your questions through Slido, either by accessing via the QR code on the screen, or by visiting Slido on your browser, or entering the code #ESPON. With the aim of continuing to foster sustainable, inclusive and resilient regional development for the EU regions affected by the Putin's war, we need to involve all relevant institutions in this dialogue and engage them in the discussion about possible initiatives to be implemented in light of Chanevo outputs. In this sense, we have the privilege to gather in this session an institutional representative of the lead partner, the Finnish region of South Karelia, two representatives of two member states directly affected, one of them taking part in this project, Estonia, and another one who was not, but it seems that we have drawn his attention and therefore gained strength to transfer our findings to policymakers. And then we will have the Committee of the Regions, which includes the Secretariat of the European Cross-Border Platform, gathering all networks and organizations promoting cross-border cooperation in our continent. So, dear colleagues, I have the pleasure of introducing you Satu Sikkanen. Satu is the regional mayor and represents the Regional Council of South Karelia. The regional councils have a statutory role in regional development and regional planning in Finland. As the regional mayor, she leads the council's office and looks after regional interests. Satu Sikkanen has a lengthy background in various regional development tasks, with a mission to build a resilient and prosperous South Karelia. Then we will listen to Julia Kirsima. Julia worked at the Estonian Ministry of the Interior from 2013 to 2014 as an advisor on Migration and Border Guard Policy Department. Then she moved to the Regional Development Department, European Territorial Cooperation Unit at the Ministry of Finance, as well as to the National Authority for the Estonia-Russia ENI program and the Estonia-Latvia-Russia EMPI program. She has continued in the same unit when this was transferred in 2023 to the Ministry of Regional Affairs and Agriculture, which is now the national responsible authority for the Estonia-Latvia Interreg and Baltic Sea region programs. She's also the coordinator of the Estonia-Latvia Intergovernmental Commission. Then we will move afterwards to the north to listen to Olaf Midland. He's a counselor and local and regional affairs at the Norwegian Mission to the EU in Brussels, seconded from the Ministry of Local and Regional Development. This is the ministry responsible for coordinating and developing the Norwegian government northern policies. His work encompasses regional and urban development, planning, housing policy, and issues related to indigenous people and minorities. He has previously worked at the Stavanger Regional Office and the EFTA Secretariat in Brussels, and is a senior advisor for regional development at the ministry. He also holds a degree from the College of Europe in Brussels. And last but not least, we will have Klaus Böhle. He works at the Secretariat of the Committee of the Regions Cotter Commission, dealing with European Territorial Cooperation, EGTCs, and the European Cross-Border Platform. Klaus has worked in public administration, dealing with regional politics, the national, European, and OECD levels. Among the various topics he has followed are education, training, culture, EU enlargement, children's rights, etc. I think there was question about that, but no more introduction from my side. Now is the time for you to listen to the very interesting contributions of our partners. So Satu, the word is yours.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, first of all, I would like to express my warm thanks to all researchers, stakeholders, partners and enablers for making JANEPO project possible. Now we have a comprehensive picture of the position and views of the regions and essential recommendation to take into account in regional development across multiple governance levels. I come from the region where the cross-border collaboration between Finland and Russia was the most extensive. In Southeast Finland, we have several border crossing points, and those were the busiest of the Finnish-Russia border. Cross-border cooperation has turned now into an iron curtain. Borders are totally closed, except some cargo trains which are still running from Russia to Finland. Instead of gateway position between East and West, now we are like a gatekeeper. We have faced uncertainty of security and economy, instrumentalization of migration, GPS interference, lost markets, lost transport chains, increased unemployment and lost development funds due to collapse of CPC programs. The impacts are very extensive in both security and economy. Both those aspects should be taken seriously in every level from local municipalities to EU decision making. In Finland, we have long traditions of comprehensive security and preparedness issues. Comprehensive security is the basis for the resilience of society. In every circumstances across multiple governance levels, we need to ensure the vital functions. After February 2022, Finland has responded quickly to the changing security situation, and it's important that all EU and NATO members do the same. Unfortunately, we haven't seen the same action in regional development policy so far, even though socio-economical resilience is an essential part of comprehensive security, especially at the EU borders with aggressor countries. The strong borders need strong and prosperous regions. In the economical resilience, we have a lot of to do in South Karelia. We are very dependent on single industrial field and a couple of big companies which are making decisions outside of the region. In Southeast Finland, we have Europe's largest forest industry cluster, and it raises the level of GDP compared to Baltic countries. The forest industry is also taking a hit because it's been heavily dependent on Russian raw wood. However, there's still a lot of potential in high-level value-added bioproducts, and it's important to invest in research, education and innovations, and to take care of transport connections, especially railways. We should not be a logistical periphery. To build our economical resilience, we need to diversify our economies by developing especially SMEs, modernize infrastructure, build strong innovation ecosystems, enhance access to foreign investments, and connect local people and actors better to Western countries. I think JANEPO results give a clear message to the European Commission that the regions sharing the border with aggressor countries need to be considered in EU cohesion policy. Nowadays, our position in cohesion policy in Southeast Finland is weak compared to other Eastern Finland, even though we are sharing the same long-standing challenges. The reason is that Southeast Finland is not a sparsely populated area like other regions in East Finland are. Our weak position is also visible on the regional aid map. My home city Lappeenranta is probably the only EU's eastern border town which is not the state aid area. The lower level of funds and grants are limiting possibilities to build resilient and prosperous region, and that's why we are underlining the similar treatment to all eastern border regions. Dear friends, Eastern border regions and authorities, together with citizens living at the border, are bearing an extensive responsibility of European border security. The border regions need to be lively enough to attract employees, and those should not become a close-minded periphery. Instead of Russia, new direction of international cooperation is needed among NGOs, municipalities, SMEs, and grassroots level actors among culture, sports, and other fields. We need people-to-people projects and actions which enhance civic trust and hope to the future in the border regions. I really hope that Eastern border regions and their grassroots level needs will be taken into account when new, for example, inter-programs will be planned. In the end, I want to underline that all regions need to play with its strengths, not its weaknesses. The Zanepo report refers to a new and more positive narrative about the border regions, and I really underlined that also. In South Karelia, we have a lot of to share in clean transition, especially in bioeconomy, energy and environmental technology. Our university has been increasingly successful in Horizon funding recently, and city of Lappeenranta is one of the mission cities in the EU, acting as a pioneer in green transition. I encourage all Eastern border regions to build the excellence in certain fields and bring added value for European competitiveness in their own smart specialization fields. Once again, thank you from my side. This is a good basis for next steps. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Satu, and thank you very much for your commitment. At the end of the day, Zanepo is the result of a quick reaction of especially South Karelia just after the invasion of Ukraine. And since then, you have moved the whole cross-border cooperation movement in Europe to pay attention to what's going there. So I think your keywords are also very important for us. Resilience. We are not the periphery, but the region should be central for European integration. We take these takeaways home. Thanks a lot. Now we go to another very important partner of our project, which is the government of Estonia. So Julia, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much for the floor. So first of all, I would like to extend our special thanks to Finnish colleagues for taking this initiative to bring this project idea forward with help of Espen. So I feel after the start of the project, our external border regions received so much attention, and this is so big success as well. Two very important initiatives started after that. We have now Regio Silence project supported by Interreg Europe, and as well Baltic catching up the regions with the help of World Bank. So this is very, very good news for all of us. So as we all know, the situation has drastically changed the security landscape after the Russia's war of aggression began. Not only we have to deal with the impact of being neighbors, but we also have this very big responsibility to protect our EU external border. So we must make significant investments in defense and deterrence, and unfortunately all this limits our ability to boost the economy and to support the competitiveness. So all this combination of different factors weighs heavily on our potential development, and it's not going to be better if we don't have funded supporting measures in place and like wider support as well. So in case of Estonia, as you can see, the border regions actually were already lagging behind before the war due to different long-term economic, social development challenges. So over the years, these challenges have been addressed through different policy tools by central government. Also, we received now a task from our new government to map those regional challenges arising from the location and to formulate the concrete proposals how to deal with this in coordination with regional representatives and relevant ministries. So we really also hope that Shanebo will highlight the specificities of the regions and provide the evidence on this matter, because it is very crucial to understand what those regions have undergone due to the war, and to have this comparison to other regions in the relevant countries. So a bit to reflect as well that the halting of cross-border cooperation that was mentioned in the first session had this negative impact in the border regions, and because those programs were able to address successfully broader regional needs. But one thing that we have to keep in mind that Interreg programs and NEI programs, the logic slightly differed. There were much more investments allowed, a co-financing rate was different, we had different regulation. So in Interreg, the Interreg main task should still remain the same, to link external border regions to other EU regions through the cooperation in order to avoid the isolation. So as it came as well from the Shanebo discussions between stakeholders with regions, the investments are very much needed. So combination of different funds is very crucial. And it is also one of the expectations of the Shanebo report to analyze and explore all the possibilities of the cohesion policy. So we would rather see that the current Interreg programs of all strands, you know, we have this cross-border, we have transnational, we have interregional, should deal with the new challenges in the external regions. And for instance, not to invent a bicycle, we have Baltic Sea region program already. So which could be this potential new program which will cover these issues. And we have very professional team in Rostock. So I do believe that with the help of Managing Authority, Joint Technical Secretariat, and of course with monitoring committee members, we will be able to accommodate all the needs of external border regions in the post 27. And so, yeah, we also should keep in mind that this financial allocation formula for the Interreg program should have the additional element taking into account the population living in eastern border regions. So yeah, definitely it's not an end, it's a beginning of the discussions. So looking very much forward for all of this. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Julia. It is true, even within these challenges, we always pay a lot of attention to what Estonia is doing, because you were pioneers on digitalization and other things. What shows that even if you have a geographical location, it's not the periphery, you are central for European integration. I think it's very interesting, your exercises to map the challenges and update them. I think we will learn a lot. And regarding Interreg, we have had a lot of discussions within the Shanebo partnership, but clearly Interreg, European programs should adapt to the reality of the regions. That is not the regions adapting to the programs. So I think we are going to transfer this challenge now to the authorities. in the EU institutions, but it's very important that we respond to the needs and to the expectations of the citizens which are living in these areas very much challenged by the war. Thanks a lot for your contribution. We move to another nation state, in this case is Norway, and we are very happy for your interest, Olaf, in participating in our project. You are really welcome, and the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Martin, and thank you very much for the invitation to speak at today's conference. This is a timely and important discussion, and I'm quite confident that the findings of this report will be of great interest to the ministry back home in Norway. Let me begin with a short introduction to Norway and its geography. On the left on the map, you see the entire country. Norway is geographically quite large. Distance from Oslo in the south to Tromsø in the north is roughly the same distance as Oslo to Rome. So basically the whole European continent. Our population is around 5 million in total. Along Norway's eastern border lies the country of Finnmark, which is highlighted in red in the left map. This area shares a border with Russia, which is 196 kilometers long, so then substantially shorter than the Finnish regions, for example. You can see a more detailed map of Finnmark on the right side of the presentation, showing its different municipalities. The county has about 75,000 people living there, and the border municipality is Sør-Varanger, has around 10,000 residents. The largest city center is Alta, which is much more farther to the west. If we go then to the second chart, we see here the population trends in the Nordic regions from 2020 to 2025. If you then look at Finnmark, again in the far east up to the very top of the map, we can see that most municipalities are actually experiencing a quite sharp decline in population. The only exception is Vadsø, which you can see in green, which is the administrative center where the county regional office is located. They have a slight increase in population. If you look at Finnmark as a county, it has some quite unique challenges which is facing the region. The graph on the left shows a sharp decline in school-age children from 2015 to 2025, a trend that is expected to continue. On the right side, we see the result of this decline, a growing number of school closures across the whole region. If we then look more closely at Sør-Varanger, we can see that especially this municipality already in 2014 started to have some problems. The main reason why was the key mining project in the regions. Region started, it closed, which basically meant that private working places shut down quite fast. And we also saw that some of the sanctions against Russia after the Crimea annexation had impact on the local economy. On the graph on the left, we can see that the second sharp decline is then after the Russian full-scale invasion of Ukraine, where we see that is quite sharp, this decline. And you can see that most of the cross-border trade with Russia stops. The region has then also experienced a brain drain, and we also see on the right side that we're going to see a quite aging population. There's going to be a huge increase of the people living there, which is going to pass 80 years old. So in total, the war with Russia, the Russian war against Ukraine, basically has worsened an already quite difficult situation. If we look then at the Norwegian government, we have had some responses. First of all, we have increased the tax deductions for residents in Finnmark. We have also increased the amount you can get back on your student loan in deductions. We have also introduced free kindergarten in almost all rural municipalities in Norway. We also have more targeted business loans through Innovation Norway. We have strengthened the cultural initiatives in the region, and we have 70 million Norwegian crowns given to the municipalities in Finnmark in extra industrial funds. We have also boosted the support for the University of the Arctic to establish a new center for tourism and entrepreneurship in Sør-Varanger. We also have reinforced the military garrison in the region and the cross-border guard. And notably, we can see that the tourism sector is actually quite growing and have a strong growth in the last years. Some lessons we have picked up from the Chanebo project is that it's a very timely and good report, and the added value is to highlight some shared challenges that we all face together, actually. We also see that we may have the same approach, but we also need to bring people together to face these common challenges. Targeted measures can help, but long-term growth requires a strategic, cross-sectoral approach, focus on innovation, tourism, and a regional attractiveness. And this has to be coordinated at all levels of the government. A key issue is limiting, especially the Norwegian region, is the limited local capacity to manage these large-scale crises that hit the region. While Norway lacks the access to the EU structural funds, we have some investments in dual use, and we also see that maybe an increase in the infrastructure on the Finnish and Swedish side could also help enhance cross-border cooperation in the Nordic region. One area we actually are participating is the Interreg programs. That is quite successful in many ways, but we still see some room for improvement that could benefit these eastern regions. In last autumn, Norway delivered some input to Commission regarding the consultation of the future of the Interreg programs. We want to see that we increase the transferability of the project, make it easier to use the knowledge that has been granted through different projects. We also want to link the programs even better to local and regional development, as you pointed out, Martin. We also want that the Eastern region programs should be open to new projects focusing on resilience, preparedness, and increased cooperation between these different regions that are facing the same issues. Lastly, we also hope that we can see a reduction in border obstacles to ease cooperation in these regions. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Olaf. I should say that in general, your proposals are quite well aligned with the discussions and the preliminary conclusions that we are discussing with the Chanebo project. So you are warmly invited to share with us the next exchanges and the most important part, which is what's come after the project is finished. Thanks a lot. And then last but not least, I would have the pleasure to give the floor to my dear colleague Klaus, who perhaps you can give us a bit more information about how the European Committee of the Regions is handling the issue of cross-border regions, what is the role of the platform, and then what we could do together in order to support our colleagues which are facing a very particular challenge that is not only their challenge. I think it's the challenge for all Europeans. So the floor is yours.
Thank you, Martin. Yes, indeed, I was going to start by saying it's really challenges at the northeast external borders, and it's not challenges only of those borders. I think that's very important to keep in mind. Thank you for inviting me to this event, and congratulations to those who worked in Chanebo project. I think it shows already that there is kind of a one-size-fits-all solution. We always say there's none, but this clearly shows that when you keep involving regions and make them participate, you can develop solutions that really make sense, and you can also take into account the diversity among the regions, because it's a long border, and we've heard already that there are certain commonalities, but also diversity. So this is, I think, already a very good outcome of this project. Indeed, I think the whole situation is a new experience for the EU. We've been used so far to opening borders, to turning border regions into cross-border regions. And here suddenly we are faced with a totally new situation. But again, I think what we've heard already clearly shows that the EU and the regions can adapt to this. The Committee of the Regions, as the representative of local and regional authorities in the EU, has always made it very clear that for the current budget, but also for future budget periods, we need to take into account the golden principles of cohesion policy and of budgeting, which is shared management, involvement of local regional authorities, partnerships, and place-based approaches. Indeed, whatever is going to be presented very soon on the EU budget for the future period should also take into account to do no harm to cohesion, because all the regions, as you said, Martin, count in the EU and are part of the EU and contribute to the strength of the EU. What we are doing also in the cross-border platform that you mentioned is to bring together indeed all the different actors working on cross-border issues, organizations, EGTCs, Euro-regions, the associations, AEPR, CESCI and MOT, and also others. And we want the platform really to be a place for exchanging experience, for bringing together regions that are in a cross-border situation, and within the regions that are involved in this project, there are some cross-border regions and others that are maybe not so much bordering other EU countries, but we want to bring them together. We also still have and will continue to have a working group for EGTCs, and speaking about it, it sounds a bit weird, but EGTCs are not only about cross-border. I think that's important, and ESPON also is an example of that. I think I will stop here. Maybe one more thing that was also mentioned this morning, capacity. Capacity of local and regional authorities, especially in rural areas. I've been working on rural policy before, and there we've always seen this not only when it comes to peripheral or cross-border regions, but in general, the question of how can actually local regional authorities absorb all the money that is there will remain to be an important one, and that should certainly be a point that has to be treated and addressed also in the future programming period, which is sometimes not so much about money but also about support. And I think that also platforms like the cross-border platform can be a means of providing this capacity through exchanges with other regions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Klaus, and also for reminding us about several aspects that all EU regions count, all are part of the cohesion policy, and even in the general approach that we have, this is not only for the EU, but also for our neighbors, with the idea of extending this cohesion. Also, very interesting that you mentioned that the EGTCs are not only cross-border. They can be also used for thematic aspects or for particular challenges which are affecting a small group of regions. So I don't look to anybody, but I look to all of us to consider this. And thank you also for highlighting the role of and the importance of capacities. I think increasing capacities, increasing the resilience, as you mentioned, being flexible. There were some questions in the Slido that now we are going to go through where they are saying, okay, how can we adapt the programs to the realities of the regions, your regions, but also others? I think all of us, we are in a changing world. We are not sure what's going to happen in the next months, but even we will pay attention what's happened next week when the new financial framework is presented, and then we will have some answers, and probably we will have to start to prepare even new actions in order to show what we are doing. But clearly border regions are central for the European integration. The external borders are an enormous opportunity for the whole of the EU, and when these regions are challenged, we all are challenged. I'm very happy to see the proactive approach that we have in general. I don't see people here crying and desperate. No, I think we are all together. I think it's very serious, but also it's very promising and encouraging. So I would like first of all to thank you, all you four, because you have painted, I think, a very interesting picture that gives a lot of hope to all the people who are worried about this situation. Now let's go to some of the questions. And I'm going to combine the questions that we wanted to make, plus those coming from Slido. And first of all, I would like to ask something very simple and general, but I think it's very important. Satu, how do you see the development perspectives of your regions in the current situation and looking at how we are in this moment?
Okay. Thank you. I think every regions need to look at the future, even though there is no one path. By following that, you will find the growth. Maybe we need to accept the situation that all regions won't be growing, but I would also underline that there should be also more than one-sided picture of less developing and starving regions. I want to believe that, for example, my region, South Karelia, won't be an empty reservation area on the front line, but more like a prosperous forerunner in green transition, which is enabling kind of sustainable solutions for worldwide challenges. I think the most important is that that we look at the future, but that we understand all that the meaning of Eastern border regions, it's so important for the European security and resilience that it's essential to keep all regions involved. And emptiness is not a good strategy at all, at least when we are sharing the border with aggressor countries. For example, Meelis mentioned that border guards have underlined the importance of local people. They are observing the border regions and inform authorities if some strangers are moving in backyards. This is an example from grassroots level. So that's why we need that border regions will be populated, even though there will be different futures among them. So I believe that there will be growing innovative areas, but there is a rural areas, and also there in rural areas there will be a good life. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much. I will come to Julia. Do you think that they will need new perspectives for the development? And what is the point of view of Estonia, especially you that you have been involved in so many territorial cooperation programs, so you know well the business.
So thank you. So yeah, definitely development perspective of these regions are shaped by very different combinations of different geopolitical aspects, of different economic opportunities, social dynamics, that's for sure. So these regions face a lot of challenges, and especially due to this proximity to Russia. So it also needs a very balanced policy approach. But we also have to keep in mind that these regions possess a potential, very big potential for cross-border cooperation, for cultural exchange, for trade, etc. So it can all boost the growth and economy and integration of those regions to other regions. So I think by leveraging the EU territorial cooperation, definitely, and strengthening the partnership not only with the neighbor, but across the EU, wider, these regions can definitely navigate through all this challenge and see definitely long-term the development opportunities and in the end contributing to all this positively overall stability. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. We take good note. I would like also to ask you, Olaf, what you already announced a little bit what is the perspective for, particularly for Finnmark. But do you think that we need to change, to adapt the development plans? What do you think are the perspectives?
It's a very good question, Martin. I think that, first of all, we have to acknowledge that some things are actually doing quite well in this region. For example, tourism is good in our regions, at least. But we also have to accept that it will take some time to reintegrate or like I say, reintegrate them into the European market. For example, when the Russian market closed, it is a huge market which has disappeared overnight. For example, Satu mentioned that there is little trade in wooden products. That could be one way to integrate more finished products into the European market. So I would say that we have to accept that it will take some time, but we also have to try to reintegrate those enterprises which are in the region towards the European market, basically, and try to establish new cross-border trade in that sense and cooperation. So probably, yeah, we need to develop new strategies, but also accept that some things are actually the strengths of the regions.
Thank you very much. Klaus, we are going to have the European Parliament and the European Commission in the next panel. So I think Victor is taking good note also to ask them something around this. But now we have the European Committee of the Regions here. I would like to ask you, do you think that the European institutions are well prepared to adapt to the changing needs and even to probably a big shift in the development perspectives of these regions and the need of an answer, an appropriate answer from the European institutions? Do you think the institutions are ready, and what the European Committee of the Regions could do to support this shift?
Yeah, I think the institutions are well prepared, and we've seen it also in the midterm review that the Commission comes up with, let's say, creative new ideas how this situation can be addressed. And I think they're also well prepared because we have in the European institutions experience with involving regions, involving local players. And so we heard that Ms. von der Leyen also wants to listen even more to the regions. And I think that is one of the recipes for success, also for addressing this situation and the future developments of these regions. I fully agree that these regions and the EU, together with these regions, should build on the strengths that are there. We heard also that in some of these regions there are already strong research capacities, innovation capacities, and there again I come back to the EGTCs. We are talking with the European University Alliance at the moment, who is preparing to become an EGTC. Also there are huge potentials, I think, for teaming up with other regions in the EU. We have the Rural Vision in the EU and the network there, which is there for exchanging experience and coming up with ideas. So yes, I think the groundwork is there, but the challenges are also there, and they will persist, and there might be new ones. There will be new ones for sure. But so far the EU has proven that it can deal with such new developments, yes.
Okay, I would continue with you and asking new questions, which I will also address to all of you. But I would like to start with you just continuing a little bit with the logic of it. Do you think that Interreg it should remain as a comprehensive framework? I think even in these circumstances, do you think that Interreg is still the framework for to answer to the expectations of these regions affected by these challenges, taking into account that there are more challenges, and probably an Interreg will have to face all of this. We have to be prepared for in the next days or weeks to make some proposals, and it would be interesting to see how do you see that from the Committee of the Regions.
I think Interreg, while it is broad, as we heard, it's about cross-border, it's about interregional, it's about transnational, and it's even about outermost. It has its reason, and it has proven that it can do really, it can really create change and new developments with very little money. So I think the added value, EU added value of Interreg simply cannot be questioned, and therefore it should also continue. I think it makes sense to have a separate envelope, let's say, called Interreg or whatever. And at the same time, because it's such a small budget in the end, it will be important to link it to other parts of the budget and to other parts of investment policies, be it cohesion policy or any other thing that the Commission will come up with on the 16th of July. Yes, definitely we need Interreg, but we shouldn't just focus the work being done in the regions on the northeastern border only on Interreg funds.
Thank you very much. Julia, what is your vision about Interreg in this framework?
Yes, thank you. So Interreg, as it was mentioned, is so diverse. We have so many different cooperation programs, and the collaboration is even possible not with your immediate neighbor, but it can be also be with someone like who is much far away. So this is the biggest added value, and all those different practical challenges can be definitely solved in the Interreg, and even some small tiny programs, for instance, in Estonia, Latvia program, we don't have so big budget, but we are solving so many great and not so great obstacles, let's say, but we are very successful. And also we have Estonia, Latvian Intergovernmental Commission, and also this we have the whole synergy, and it's all complements. So I think this is very great and very good added value for this.
Thank you very much, and thank you very much for highlighting the value of small and tiny actions. I remember when everybody was saying, well, Interreg is so small, that is not really, we need big projects of infrastructure. And suddenly we discovered that the small project funds, very tiny, small projects in some small Euro regions, was activating the participation of civil society. And this was the magic of Interreg, with so little money to activate a big amount of citizens. That's why we love this small but very sexy project. Thank you very much for this contribution. Satu, what do you think about that?
Yeah, thank you. I think under these circumstances, we have to show to aggressor countries the unity of the EU's eastern border regions. Before we had several CPC programs with Russia, and now we have to change the direction and make sure that EU's eastern border regions are still part of Interreg family. Yeah, and maybe we are hoping that we could have totally new programs which could be more concrete than current programs. I have to admit that I haven't been very, very happy with current programming period. CPC funds were partly transferred to Interreg programs and mostly gone. Those funds have been mostly gone away from our regions. So the loss has been maybe tens of millions euros. I really hope that part of MFF will take care of Interreg programs implemented in border regions, and taking into account those concrete needs what we have. I underline people-to-people projects as well. Those tiny projects could be very, very successful and important for the regions. And yes, I underline the demand of Interreg programs, but at the same time I want to underline that it can't be the whole solution to these multiple challenges, and also other programs. Of course, those are needed, and like Julia mentioned, it's very important that all these programs will be integrated well, and we have common targets and integrated perspective. Yeah, thank you.
Exactly. This is, as Julia has reminded before, it's not only about cross-border, it's also about transnational, it's interregional. So Interreg is able to, but I would like to Olaf, to see also your perspective, but if I have a Norwegian in front of me, I think I have to remind these non-cross-border but the transnational programs. I remember Colarctic, where also the Russians were participating, and it opened an enormous expectation about how to handle climate change in the Arctic, the new transport route, the energy issue, which is another topic that I prefer not to, because we would need another several-hour session. But it's always very interesting to see the Norwegian approach, because we learn a lot. Please.
Yes. Well, I've been working in Brussels now for almost 2 years, and I have been reflecting lately, maybe in this debate, as Klaus were discussing on the new budget, is maybe Interreg a bit undervalued in Brussels? That we actually don't talk enough about how efficient the small programs actually are. You see that we have quite small projects which are very much efficient with actually answering the local needs. If we then actually manage to just adjust the programs a little bit so they are more adapted to local and regional needs. For example, we see that in, for example, our northern regions, we don't have the same challenges as the southern ones. We basically can then have the same aims for all the programs. It has to be better closely linked to what they actually the need of the programs. Secondly, I touched upon it in my introduction, is that we would like to see the transferability, because there is a lot of projects between the different programs. It's so many good projects which are really not communicated enough to other programs, basically. So say that, for example, it's a very good project in Estonia. It's very easy for a Norwegian region to learn from it. Or if we have a smart project, it could be possible for Estonia to learn from it. So in that sense, yes, I think that Interreg is a very good solution, and I hope to see that the budget will be hopefully the same, because it's basically the soul of the European Union project. You know, it's the linking people together, and it's when we had the Colarctic project, we saw that the increase in just that we were meeting the persons on the other side in Russia, for example. It increased the cooperation so much, but it takes some time to see the actual benefits from it.
Exactly. Thank you very much. Yes, but we also agree that probably Interreg, together with Erasmus, is probably the best value for money that we can find in the European, from different perspectives, the amount of citizens which are involved, regions, the territories, etc. Really excellent programs. And we cannot imagine right now European Union without Interreg. And let's see next week. Probably the money will reduce. I would insist on the need to increase the budget for Interreg, because every euro that you invest in Interreg, you're investing in Europe, and you will get a return which is much higher. But the problem is that sometimes it's very difficult to communicate. Maybe these new challenges make possible that we can communicate a bit better about that. I will go now for my last question, because we have a few minutes, and then I would like to ask you, well, do you find the evidence which is produced by ESPON is valuable? It's useful to even to shape this, because we are shaping the concept of resilience. It's something that came to our jargon very recently, and we are still on it. And we think that ESPON is one of the best instruments. But I would like to know your opinion. I will also start with Klaus. What do you think? Is this evidence valuable? Do you think it's useful?
Absolutely. I mean, to see all the data put together and to really have them collected with the cooperation and the input from the regions and the local players themselves, that's absolutely valuable. I think one of the things that we often hear at the European level is, yes, it's all nice, but we don't have the data. And it's clear that seeing also the differences between the regions and not just saying, okay, there's one big border and there must be one problem, I think this is absolutely extremely useful.
Thank you very much. Olaf, I will ask you the same. What is your...
I think Klaus touched upon it, but of course we have some experience from the Nordic cooperation. We have the Norwegia, which is basically a research institute in Stockholm, which produces a lot of material, a bit like ESPON. And as Klaus said, we need good data actually to develop good policies. So it's a bit like Eurostat. Without Eurostat, you really can't deliver on anything. So ESPON is basically the regional development's Eurostat in that sense.
I think our colleagues from ESPON, which are around, will be very happy to listen to that. Julia, what is your experience so far being a partner of the project?
Yes, thank you. So first of all, I think it was a very great platform to exchange the views. We came all together. We had the possibility to highlight these issues, the challenges, and it also helped to launch other initiatives, as I mentioned before. Now we are having as well this Baltics Catching Up the Regions, supported by European Commission and World Bank. We also ended with the Regio Silence project, supported by Interreg Europe. So, and all this gave us the possibility to exchange the thoughts, and I think this is the biggest added value.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And Satu, do you have the chance to make the closing?
Okay. Yes, thank you. Yes, this project has been very, very valuable for us. For example, in my region, we are planning the new regional development strategies, and we will definitely utilize this information. And it's always valuable to have also this comparative information from other countries. And I would like to underline the role of this joint operation that Saneopo has gathered local and national authorities together. We don't have this kind of forum, and maybe we should have in the future. So I'm looking forward to the next steps and conversation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you all. I think we have a lot of food for thought, many takeaways, and even to continue in the last phases of this Chanevo project, it has been extremely valuable. And for those who are connected online, thank you for your attention, but don't forget that we still have another session in the next 15 minutes where we are going to have the European Commission, we are going to have the European Parliament, we are going to sum up and to get some conclusions that are going to be extremely important for the regions which are taking part in this project. So thanks a lot to everybody for your participation and attention, and see you in some minutes. Thanks. Bye.